Hi everyone. I hope that you're all doing well and that you're staying home and safe. Today we're going to be talking about risky drinking and the problem with alcohol literature. Excessive drinking, also known as binge drinking, is prevalent among college students and is associated with a number of negative outcomes. Excessive or binge drinking is defined as 5 or more standard drinks for males and 4 or more standard drinks for females consumed within 2 hours. As defined by the NIAAA, in the U.S., a standard serving of alcohol contains 14 grams of pure alcohol. Nearly 60% of college students report drinking alcohol, and of those, 40% report engaging in binge drinking. College students who engage in binge drinking experience many detrimental effects. Injuries most often associated with this type of drinking include being hit by a car, drowning, falling, and alcohol poisoning. Other risk factors associated with college student drinking are listed on the screen. Moreover, on average, about 1,500 college students in the U.S. die each year due to alcohol-related injuries. Researchers and college administrators have suggested that having college students track the number of standard drinks they consume, particularly in a single drinking episode, might be an important method to help them avoid binge drinking and the associated negative consequences. This may be, at least in part, because college students who report avoiding binge drinking also report counting drinks or setting drink limits so as not to exceed a specific number of drinks as 2 protective strategies they use to avoid binge drinking. However, counting drinks and setting drink limits requires some understanding of and an ability to pour a standard serving of alcohol. Yet, most college students cannot accurately define or pour standard drink servings. When asked to state the definitions of standard servings of alcohol, college students provide overestimates for wine, liquor, and mixed drinks. When asked to pour standard servings of beer, wine, liquor, and mixed drinks, on average, students overpour all types of alcohol. That is, what college students consider one drink typically contains more than one standard serving. This likely means that college students are underestimating the amount that they drink. Researchers studying college student drinking typically use group designs, and depending on the research question, alcohol researchers may benefit from incorporating elements of single-subject designs for several reasons. Researchers using group designs rarely incorporate repeated measures. This is problematic because pouring behavior is highly variable, and college students rarely pour the same volume twice. This graph shows a full dataset from one participant in Metz et al., 2016. Each data point represents one free pour, and, as shown in baseline, there is a large amount of variability in volume of free pours. Researchers using single-subject designs often incorporate repeated measures, which is beneficial because only measuring a single pour may not be representative of individuals' pouring behavior, and instead, taking repeated measures allows for a more valid measure of an individual's pouring behavior. This also allows for researchers to measure the change in variability before and after a treatment is implemented. As shown in this graph, the level and variability of the participants' free pour volume changed after the training components were implemented. Researchers using group designs, at least in the context of alcohol use, typically make use of self-report data. These data have been shown to be less reliable or valid than directly measuring behavior. For example, Cohn et al. Asked participants to provide their definitions of standard servings and showed that individuals' free pour volumes did not match their definitions of the standard serving. This shows that there is a mismatch between self-report and the actual behavior of individuals. This graph depicts a comparison of a participant's self-reported standard serving definitions of beer on the x-axis and the same participant's free pour volume of their definition of a standard serving of beer on the y-axis. If self-report definitions mapped onto participants' actual behavior, data points would be along the red line, showing that self-report definitions relate to free pour volumes of participants' standard serving definitions. So, a 4-ounce reported definition would correspond to a 4-ounce free pour volume. A single subject design in which behavioral measures are used may help improve the reliability and validity of alcohol research by measuring actual behavior of individuals. The red lines mark the mean of the free pour volume on the y-axis and the mean of the reported definition on the x-axis. This graph also shows that if we just looked at means, we would see that the means of both free pours and reported definitions are about 11 ounces, which are very close to the standard serving of 12 ounces, even though there was a high level of variability in both pours and definitions. Researchers using group designs often calculate means and standard deviations to interpret data, which may not capture the behavior of individual participants. On the other hand, researchers using single subject designs often report the full data set as opposed to just the means and standard deviations in order to capture the behavior of individual participants. For example, this graph depicts hypothetical data showing the free pour trials for 2 groups on the x-axis and the pour volume on the y-axis, and shows that one group made many accurate pours of a standard serving of beer, and another group made many under and over pours of a standard serving of beer with no accurate pours. If only the means of these pours were reported, it would show that both of the groups, on average, poured accurately, when in fact none of Group 2's pours were accurate during any of the trials. The standard deviations would differ between the 2 groups, but the means would be the same. There are different approaches researchers may take when developing a research question, as well as a way to attack that question. A deductive approach is starting with the general and then moving to the more specific. For example, this may be creating a theory first and then testing that theory. In terms of alcohol research, this could be starting with the question of how to prevent risky drinking. However, this may lead to jumps in logic. As we will discuss on Wednesday, there are several important questions that must be asked and researched before we can tackle strategies to decrease college student drinking.